Hi, today we're going to talk about facings. Facing is a way that we finish off a garment around the neckline, around the armhole, sometimes at a waistline on a pair of pants or a skirt, so that your garment is finished. We cannot simply just turn fabric under and stitch it down. You'll see that sometimes in knit garments, but because the fabric is stretchy, it's easy to get it to fold over. When you're stitching an area, like for instance, this is a neckline and here's my stitching line. If I was to try to fold this over, you can't possibly fold this area and this area. The rest of it will start to tear. So there isn't any kind of a woven fabric that's really going to stretch enough for you to turn that edge under. So facings have always been the way that we handle those areas on a garment. So behind me, I have a dress that has a facing. This dress, because it's asymmetrical on the outside, has a facing, and you can see I'll pull it closer. It follows the neckline and finishes it off quite nicely. Here it's finishing this area off. If you think about an area around the underarm of a garment, how do we finish this armhole? Well, it's a separate piece of fabric that's been stitched to the outside first. Then we clip the seam allowance. You can see there's little lines that have been cut into it to release it so that the fabric can fold over, because when the dimension of the edge of the fabric is much smaller than the area where it's going to land. So we have to clip it. If you sew something and it's puckering and pulling, that tells you that you haven't released that fabric. So you can see when the fabric turns down, hopefully on this one, you can see it. I know it's dark, that it's spreading out. And so we need to be able to finish off something really nice and neat and tidy. This gives us a finished area in the back. It's finished where the zipper is, so that there isn't any raw fabric showing. On the inside of a waistline of a skirt, you'll see that this particular skirt, it's lined, but they've added what's called a self-facing. So the fabric that's on the outside is on the inside as the facing. And so when you wear it, you're not going to see lining at the top. Plus this area, there would be a little bit more wear and handling the garment, and the lining would have a tendency to wear out. So it's a way to keep the area of the waistline really nice. Now some garments will have an separate like waistband, like you would see on your jeans and sometimes some skirts. This skirt is meant to just hug the waist without having that waistband showing. And then here's another little cotton dress that's for summer. And you can see that on the inside of the upper back, we've finished off the zipper area. The lining facing comes over and goes all the way under the underarm area and around to the front. Now this one is a simple cotton dress. You'll see that the neckline is square. And so that facing is how we're going to finish off this area. And then the bottom, when we talk about seam finishes, this particular facing is just serged, where sometimes you might want to turn it under and stitch it, have it look a little bit nicer. Any place where you're applying a facing should have what's called interfacing on the fabric. So this is going to stabilize that upper edge of your dress and your armhole and keep it from stretching out of shape. So we're going to look at how we do facings, and you'll be adding some facings to either your samples, or if you're in the draping class, you're going to be doing facings on the garments that you make. In pattern drafting is usually where we learn a little bit about facings, but in case you haven't done facings before, we're going to be working on facings. So I'm going to show you different ways that we cut out facings and make facings.